there's several of us that weren't here. We don't do TV. We're just doing radio.
Okay.
And you're like going way too fast. You're like, what you did yesterday? What you did?
Yeah, there are 4 people in
Yeah.
that
Okay.
are just radio only, so they're
So
just now joining today.
right now, the only thing we're doing is getting into the site
Yeah.
and launching A Express.
Okay.
That's it for that right there. The rest of it, you'll see, we're going to go through every one of the steps.
Yeah.
I'm just mentioning for those that were, it's going to look familiar for what we were doing, but we are absolutely going to go through all those steps.
Okay.
So, the univision.ecloud.gotostrata.com is the site.
And then go on what Mike is preaching, and then we're going to get you in the system and up and running.
Absolutely.
Does everybody have the WebEx? No. That's what I think. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
So, WebEx here, if you need this, for the avail, okay? Hi, Sal. For that. So, agency, advertiser, product is what is set up in Wide Orbit. For this round, I'm going to use an existing one, okay? We will talk about using one that is not in Wide Orbit yet. That is in the second round. Hi, Mary. For that. As we all know, I picked on 22 squared. I'm going to use Whataburger for the advertiser. The question is going to come up, what are the A's afterwards? They are right now all combined TV and radio advertisers into one. They are working on being able to separate those out so that it reduces the confusion. For now, choose what makes sense to you, okay? Because even in Wide Orbit, there's still matching that has to be done with the ACs. The ACs that still have to match advertisers in there, okay? So I'm just going to choose Whataburger at the moment. Product is going to be whatever's in Wide Orbit for that particular client. The buyer name and phone number, again, are completely optional. If you want to include them, feel free. I am. Okay. Campaign name is your file name. Make that as descriptive as you need. So we will say Radio Houston. 18. Okay. So name it as you need. The one thing about naming, though, you can't have slashes or anything like that, so, but it'll tell you as well with those. All right? IVI. The campaign ID is our unique identifier for this. So that's also whenever you send it over for rate approval, they will bring that up by that ID. Okay?
But that's by default, right? That's by default?
Yes. Yeah, we do that. Once you create an ID, it creates an ID for you automatically. As a matter of fact, it's grayed out, you can't even change it. That's by design. Flight start and end date. When I click on here, I need to start on a Monday and end on a Sunday at this point. Okay? At this point, very important. Start on a Monday, end on a Sunday. Also, I can click on the month and jump to whichever month I'd like. So I'm going to jump down to November. And as you get ready for 2019, we can click on the year and jump to 2019 if you need to as well. Right now, the rate cards do go through the end of this year. Okay. Mary has worked diligently on the rate cards. We have done that. So I'm going to choose my Monday. I'm just going to do broadcast November at the moment. It's going to give me a few weeks out, so you choose your Sunday that you need. Okay, so Monday to Sunday at this point. My demos, you still have 3 opportunities to work with demos. Again, if you do not put anything here, it's going to default to adults 25-54. But you'll have 2 other opportunities to work with demos even after this for that, okay? If you need to dictate, absolutely go for it. For that, I click the demos button. Right under this text box in the select from list, just type in whichever one you're looking for. Don't feel like you have to go through the list and select. Type it in. The grand thing with that, I know I said grand again, for that is that I can just type in A18 plus for 18 plus, hit enter, and it goes right over to my active list. For those. You can have multiple demos. I hope you never have to have 32 demos. But if you do have 32 that you can put in there. That's an insane plan.
Where would you pick for his band members on?
Quick question, very quick.
We're not there yet. Great question, we're not there yet. Just demo. We have not pulled in data yet, okay? So we will get there.
Oh.
Okay. Right. This is just the header.
No.
Just header information.
You know.
Okay? If you have an estimate number that you'd like to include, absolutely go ahead and type it in this estimate number. Not a requirement as well. Also, if you do have a client and product in an electronic digital invoicing code, feel free to put them in. Not required. Absolutely not required. Okay? We still have launch view, which is what I'm going to do. This is brand new. I'm treating it as brand new. We want to pick our day parts. That's what I say program. Pick our day parts and our rates. Okay? But if you have done that already, and you've saved it, and you want to reuse that for another client, you can still do that. That is what open schedule is. So once you save it, come through the getting started, fill in your new agency advertiser information, click open schedule, it will present you with your list of saved avails, and it'll say which one do you want to use as your template. And you're off and running, make tweaks as needed, send it over for rate approval for that. Okay? But for today, I'm going to click Launch View. When I do click that, I get the three options. Launch just TV, launch just radio, which is what we're going to do right now, and then later this afternoon, we're going to launch TV and radio. Okay? So launching TV and radio again, the advantage of that is that your demos will agree, your flight dates will agree. Okay. Also, if you know, that was one thing, you guys share, like one person does TV and another does radio?
It's okay.
Perfect, perfect. So you will want to do that because you work on your part and you've already got the demo and the flight for radio and you can hand it off. That'll go back to the shared folders that we'll talk about that as well. Okay? So for today and for right now, launch radio only. Coming over to view, here we are. I have 18 plus right here. I've got my calendar right here. Broadcast November. The first thing I'm going to do is come over to my survey field and double click. Okay. And that comes up. Now for mine, I'm just going to go over to Houston. You might have to do that as well. Here is the black books, the Hispanic books, and the general market. Okay.
So is that being handled?
If nothing's coming up right here where it says database area, make sure that you do the drop down and that it says everywhere.
It's the phone,
Mine
so
says-
it's radio, Hispanic radio.
You want to make sure it says
Got it.
everywhere. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
In the database area, select everywhere. Everybody, select everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay?
Ah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, my understanding is that radio does a lot of averaging. Perfect. The way you would average 3 or more, or 2 or more books in here is select your first book, hold down the control key, just like you would in Windows to multi-select, and select your others. In this case, I'll do an average of June, May, and April. Okay? Okay, and then the average button lights up for me right underneath. I'm going to click that, and it pops it down to my active list as that 3-book average. The one there, of course, is that the profiles have to agree. So it's all black, all Hispanic, or all general market. Do not mix those.
So average, right?
Oh, you're holding your sheet. For that. Okay. Once I have those, I'm going to click OK. And there we are. So we're doing a 3-book, April to June. Next, little suggestion here. If you already know that you're going to be doing multiple stations, you can choose your day parts first and then include the stations. And I'll show you why. So I'm going to go right to day part. So this is just a workflow if you want to do it this way. I'm going to double click on my day part. Here are my standard day parts. I know the question's gonna come up for custom day parts. Great question, we will cover that, but for now, this is just the basic avail. I'm just gonna select the first 3, okay? And the little arrow that's in here for adding it over to my active list.
I actually double clicked in
That's fine, that's fine too. I just did all 3 at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Before you tell us, my eyes, it's not good.
When I click OK, there are my day parts. Now, when I add my station, it's going to automatically carry those day parts over to the other stations for me. There's the advantage of doing the day parts first, so inside and out.
You have to do it every single time.
Exactly, exactly. So now I'm going to double click on my station. All right, and from here, we choose our station. I'll use KAMA, and let's do KLE. Why not? For those. Scroll down a little bit. Oh, that's a, sorry, KLTN. For that, okay? So KAMA and KLTN, once I pick my station, I will click OK, and there we are. Carried those day parts down with the other station. That's it. Good so far? All right, let's bring in some rates. Okay, so to bring in rates, there's a button right here that says refresh RC rates, rate card rates. Okay, so second row of icon, almost to the end. Okay, so when I click that, it's going to bring up a list of rate cards. So there are,
Is it this one right here?
so it's the Houston radio rate cards August to December.
How did you get that?
Okay,
Fourth one over from the,
right.
click on that, right on the green.
Little dollar sign with an arrow.
Okay, gotcha.
Now when I click OK, what it's doing is looking for those day parts for that station in the rate card to make sure it matches and finds a rate.
Good rates, Marie.
Okay?
Should Build it pointed me in the right direction.
For that.
I don't know, I mean, eventually.
I can't see.
Right?
I can't see.
It says Austin,
Yes,
These are my.
okay, it is, I got it. August
And I
to
can
December.
change.
Are these
I got
rates
it.
60?
Okay, everybody,
About
hang on,
4 hours.
everybody stay with
All
me,
the
please.
questions.
Please, we will get to questions, I promise, okay? I know you're trying to follow along, but watch what I'm doing up here. We will get to questions from there, all right? So I'm picking my Houston rate card, all right? I'm going to click OK. It's looking for those day parts, and there are my rates. Couple of things with these fields. I left it at 60 seconds. All right? The rate that came in is $160.
Oh.
It's letting me know in here that the rate card is $160, which is 100% of rate card. In our second round, we're going to talk about you putting in a rate and then comparing it to the rate card. All right, and the relationship there. But for now, basic avail, I just want to pull in those rates for 60 seconds. All righty? So once my rate cards are in here, we can schedule. You guys normally do that, go ahead and put spots on there. Perfect, perfect. We have a couple of ways that we can do that. We can also look at the rates by week, just like in TV, all right? I think I have mine enabled. No, I do not. You might have to go up to rates and enable rates by week, maybe, for that. But when I do that, it opens up each week's rates, all right? Now, depending on what you need to do, if anything, you can change up individual weeks if you'd like. Or I can click, hold down my mouse key and drag across and change both those weeks at the same time. If needed. Okay? So, rates by week. This you can toggle between. You don't have to keep it up. So it's the button that's right here once you've enabled it. I can click it off. If you're happy with the rates that are here, But the rate that is shown here just means that is the rate consistently across my whole flight. All right. Now, the stats. If you need to add a stat, we're going to double click and bring up our statistics selection dialog. Just double click on any of the column headers.
Double click.
Now, in here, alphabetical listing. If you are looking for a stat that you're not seeing at the moment, check your filters in the middle here. That will bring in those kinds of stats. Maybe you're looking for something associated with costs. Just check it to bring those in. Okay. Again, alphabetical listing. It is also putting in agency and qual weighting. You can take those out if you'd like. Make it a little easier for that. But bring in by double clicking or clicking and adding to your active list. Okay.
Can you show us again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Double clicking on any column header. Any column header. So also with this one, now I double clicked on average quarter hour rating, excuse me. Because anything I add at the moment is going to go right to the right, directly to the right of that stat. So if you have a particular place you'd like it to go, you can double click there and it'll go to the right. Okay. Conversely, if there's a stat in here that you do not need, that is highlighting by single clicking and hitting delete on your keyboard. You can always bring it back if you need to by double clicking and bringing it back in. Okay? No one did. Not yet. Not yet. We are actually working on one.
Yeah, that's, I kind of need one right now.
We are working on one. Okay? Now, moving up to the demo. Maybe you need to change out that demo. Maybe you need to add a demo. If I need to add a demo, I can still double click. Little theme there, double click for there. And add whichever ones you'd like.
Or remove.
Or remove. So, every demo that you add will have the exact same statistics that you have under your primary. So your secondary, tertiary, quaternary, all so on and so forth. And I love that I get to use them. For those will have the exact same stats.
How does it look when you have 2 demos or 3 demos?
Sure. So let's say I want here. All right. Now, notice too, you're like, wait a minute, I added one. Where is it? Each component part has a horizontal scroll at the very bottom. But I can also resize the whole thing if I want to. Don't maximize.
Resize.
I can move around. I can drag those around. They are all separate components in there that you can resize or what need you. If I need to get rid of adults 18 to 49, just like with the stats, highlight, delete on the keyboard. You can always bring it back. And now for the pièce de résistance with the demos, I can say I want adults 25 to 54. I highlight and enter, and I've changed out the demo. Okay. Notice also I didn't even need any formatting. Just A2554. It knows what I'm talking about. There we go. All right. Now, coming over to our input statistics, we have that internal notes that will come into play whenever you send it over for approval. And if there's any changes that come back, they will be in the internal notes, and they are purely internal. They do not go over to the button for those. The notes, however, do go over in the XML, and you'll see here in a little bit there are options in the
right
PDF.
place.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't put this buyer's crazy in the actual notes unless you want them to see.
Believe what she just did.
If you would have changed the unit duration to 30 before you did the import on the rate, does it bring in the 30s?
Yes, it does, and that's going to be on the second round.
Oh, okay.
So right now, basically that. Okay. All right. Now, let's say I want to schedule units per week. Absolutely, we can do that. Now, there's 2 different ways we can do this. You can plot over in the calendar. Anything that has a 0 in it means it's available. Okay? Or, sure. Sure. Double
We
click
don't
it.
like the rating.
Yeah.
I like that, but also keep in mind too that you can still type over it if you want. It does flag it if you manually change the ratings for those, okay? Now, again, I can plot over here as much as I want to, or I do have this unit per week, meaning whatever number I put in here, put that number spots consistently across all weeks.
Boom.
Okay?
Oh.
Once you do that, you can still change anything over there. It doesn't set it in stone, so. All right? Also.
It kind of chooses it for you, how, if you put 5, it chooses it for 8. Right.
So,
Okay, cool.
for that, okay? So I just put 5 all the way down, just for sake of argument at the moment.
Oh, I
If there's nothing else you need to do at the moment, and we're not gonna do anything else at the moment, we're gonna get that over for approval.
What happened? That's my,
Do you mind if I send that over?
No, no.
Okay, so for that. So I'm actually going to send it over. Live.
In real time.
In real time for that, okay? So, right here in the second row of icons, at the very end, is that send for approval. When I hover over it, gives me the little tooltip, send for approval. For the TV people, this should look extremely familiar. All right, and here we are. Agency, advertiser, sorry,
For the, well, it's kind of, now we do it by bringing it
okay,
in.
I see a second section down there, I'll look at that.
Salesperson, Alicia
Okay.
Perro.
Alrighty, when you first go in here, just make sure that your name is in the salesperson, and then anybody will check, access checks for those that you can send on their behalf. Okay? You might have to select the account type, local versus national, just change that, it will stick. And just like in TV, to get you ready for Matrix, you do have to fill in the probability. By clicking the probability, it will force you. Okay? I can go ahead and do all stations at the moment and click in this percent. The drop down, and then what percent it is. Okay? Potential dollars, don't worry about those right now.
So question, if we already have a projection in Matrix, because we project ahead, sometimes before the actual sales come in, will this override the projection?
This is not connected to Matrix at the moment.
Okay.
This is getting you in the habit
Okay.
of filling it in when Matrix integration does come. At the moment, it is not connected to Matrix. Okay? Alrighty. Also, any notes? So this is a test. Put that in there as well. Once I have everything in there that I need, the send for approval button is at the bottom. I'm sending this over. What do you want? Okay. On this screen, in the immediate, if you don't see anything, check your dates, because this is your start date filter. I just have mine set out to end of March of next year. Just remember dates, set it, forget it. I can see, here's what I sent. At the very bottom, I can see my unit total dollars based on my units and that they're sent for approval. So at this moment, they get an email, they go into Station Portal. So,
Everyone's getting signs.
yeah, exactly.
A lot more
So,
money than
for
it
those,
was.
okay? So bear with me just for a moment. I'm going to go over and show you what that looks like for them.
Probabilities, that's what they're
You have to do probabilities. Absolute requirement. Okay? By the way, here's my thing for that, so where I keep everything. OneNote, I'm gonna add it OneNote. Okay, so when it goes over for approval, what it looks like on their side is this long list of campaign IDs. That's where that campaign ID comes in. Okay. From here, they would just click on that particular campaign ID so that when they come in here, they see your lines. Okay. Now this is in the test environment, just so you know, this is not live data for that. They will see everything that they have access to, including radio. This is their TV and radio. Okay. They can update anything in white. So days and times, day part codes, spot links, they can send you a note on a particular line. Change the rate, the rating, what have you. Once they're finished doing whatever they need to do, they can approve it. It comes back to you, and you do get an email saying it's either been approved or it's been rejected. Hopefully not rejected. For that.
I will this one.
But what is the difference between, okay, so if I make some changes and then approve, it sends it back with the changes versus reject? What's the?
Reject, in my mind, tells them
It's not going
it's not going anywhere, you need to redo it.
You need to start from scratch.
It's not like change rates, it's like this whole thing doesn't compute.
Yeah.
You got the wrong.
It's
thing.
Now you guys have to revise.
Yeah,
Right.
no way,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Well,
start over.
They might send it, well, if he rejects it, that's sending it back to you to redo and
I
revise.
know, but if she
Opposed
wants
to
a
just
different rate,
this-
she'll
I could just
put it in
change
and say, this is
Yeah.
the one
rates
that's
or
gonna
ratings.
be-
Maybe this 105 needs to be a
Bring it
110.
back. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
You'll change it,
Right.
or y'all will change it.
We'll change it if we need to change it.
Right.
If it's so wrong, then you're
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
mean,
have it.
hopefully we will never have to totally reject something.
Right.
Question.
You do have to open the
But-
department. If you very tight, you will have to open the
Right, but you can do that.
Yeah.
You can do that.
So on TabScan, we used to see not only the totals for every line, but you would also see the total or the total investment, and I don't see it here. Is there a way I can see the total investment, or I'm just not seeing it
In the avail?
in the
Yeah.
avail?
Top right corner.
Where's,
So I only see, it's $1,260 for line 6 to 10, but I don't see the total for all lines combined.
top.
Right here,
At the top?
the very top.
On the blue, on the
And
very
then
top.
each station has its own line.
Oh, I just didn't see it on the
Right.
previous.
And that actual total is at the top and the bottom, actually. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, now go back. What is the total like again?
Okay, so right here at the top, and then the station total, and total at the bottom as well. Okay? Now, I'm just gonna save this for a moment, and I'm gonna close view.
I mean, you could send an avail that is not a package that has numbers of charts, it could just be rates.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's whichever you guys agree to.
So if a manager sends it back with modifications, and the AE, I guess there's two choices, either to accept those modifications and move forward, or to change it again, send it back. Okay.
So did you get the one I sent over with that?
Yes, I
So,
did.
wonderful. And did you approve the changes or just approve?
I just did.
Oh, thanks so much.
But rejected
It's okay.
it, but rejected it because, just because I can.
Not for any particular reason.
No, we just feel like
It's
it.
not, we were
Right,
just messing
exactly.
around to see whether I could get it.
Right, but now that she has done that, now what I can do is I can refresh my screen here and see if this has come back. So there it is, rejected,
Oh.
and I'm so sad.
But then you would correct whatever,
Whatever you need to do. Mhm.
But she didn't tell you what it needs.
Well, in this case, but she probably, but she
That
probably.
means
So
you
you
need to
wouldn't
go
reject
talk to
it.
her.
I think
That means you need
You
to
know,
go.
I don't see a lot of times when we would totally reject, unless, it's a, say you sent something, normally you would just modify whether it's the rates or the day pass or whatever, and not reject it.
But on there, on the actual, is there a little note place where you would?
Right, so they can, down here at the bottom, you can see the
Okay,
station.
at the
code,
bottom,
right?
okay.
For the-
Where,
Oh, you added it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. so you rejected the
I can find it now.
Okay, now, once it comes back and you get your notification that it's either been approved or rejected, hopefully not rejected. Where we are right now is traffic campaign search. Now, the top of the screen always tells you where you are. So we are in AE Express traffic campaign search. You will see everything that you have access to. So if you are able to send something but on someone's behalf, you will see it here. If you just want to see yours, you do have the filters up here that you can just filter it by your name. Okay? So keep that in mind as well. For this, okay? So it just refreshed, and I see where Marie rejected the one that I sent over. So, I want to look at that particular version, all right? So it's one I've already worked on, I've already sent it over. You also, just as an example, there's one down here too, approved with changes, okay? What I want to do is the version down here at the bottom right-hand corner, open in view. That way you can see any changes that they may have made, or comments, or comments. And that's where the eternal notes comes in. Okay? All right. So the rate changed, that's fine, but then she rejected,
Sounds
that's
about
fine
right.
too. So,
Proponent
all right.
70.
And I see that rate change right here as well. So the internal notes. The internal notes do not go over to the buyer. They're really
But you say that everything that I do is gonna stay over there. What happens when I want to place the order and I don't need that anymore? It's gonna run to right?
I'll show you.
For agency,
I'll
it's
show you.
gonna be,
For that.
might have to-
It will stay there until you delete it though. For this.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay?
Version-
All right, so we've gotten it for approval, we've gotten it back. Maybe we made some changes to it. I'm just using this as a hypothetical. I know it's been rejected, but let's say I've made the modifications that the manager has asked me to do, all right? And let's get this over to ready for wide orbit. It's that same place. I know it says sent for approval, but we're doing that same thing in here, okay? Again, this is hypothetical. Again, it brings me into these little windows here. I can update my probability if I want to. All right. Also, any notes that you might want to send over to wide orbit, whichever. Preview traffic. Okay, so preview traffic instead of send for approval. So let's preview traffic. This immediate screen, you do not have to do anything here if you do not want to, except for sending it over for your ACs. That's perfectly fine. Otherwise, I can flip between the two. All right, so there's KLTN. There's KAMA. All right. If you need to do modifications here, you do have the ability to maybe change the time period by double clicking. Also, I do have 5 units per week. Do you want to do run on schedule? Or do you want to dictate that I want 2 there, 1 there, maybe 1 there, and maybe 1 there, as long as it equals the 5.
Can you have both stations at the same time?
No, not in this screen. So,
When you change the time period, does it automatically change
the distribution. Yes, it does. I'll show you. So if I did, say, Monday through Wednesday, right here, and when I hit enter, the X's go away from the distribution.
But now this is only if the schedule's going through the system, though, correct? Then if you actually, when the schedule goes through, it
Yes.
this part of it.
Yep, yeah, this is the final step before you send it to your ACs for the prep and wide
So
order.
we're giving them a manual.
Would they know there's multiple stations?
Yes,
And
yes. Hold on.
No,
That's been approved.
my question was though, we're not sending them the order it's approved, it's just come through here, we're sending them an actual search, but then we decide to wide orbit, then this wouldn't be something to use. Or would,
If the insertion order is the exact same as this, I guess you will.
Right.
Because it
If
makes
you're
sense
sending
for
them,
them and
no, when you say insertion order, you mean
when I'm
you're
saying,
booking it in
right,
wide
we're
order.
booking it through paper insertion order, not through the system.
Yeah, from an agency that has their own system, they're sending in
Right,
orders, doesn't
exactly,
necessarily,
right.
it's not necessarily
That doesn't
using
necessarily
this.
go through
Gotcha.
this, then we wouldn't be doing the traffic for this, correct?
It's more like for a direct account, you know, you have a package that you put together.
Alrighty,
But this would go to Shawnee.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay?
So we just changed the time period and it didn't change the.
Well, it's not changing the rate, no. No, you sold it on the 0.8. That's what's been
So
approved.
you can't change the rate.
In theory, you shouldn't really have to change it.
No, you don't.
At this point, right?
Right?
But if you
Because
change
it
the time period, it
Yeah.
should, the
Because it gets
program.
really messy, because if you
Because
had
if
something
you change-
approved,
you
then
still
you
do
change
it.
the time
Change.
period.
So
So
if
if
it's
the more
more-
had a wide rotator and that rate was approved,
Right,
then
then you
narrow it.
change it.
And
Then you're really changing, you're messing with the
And none of you
rate.
guys would ever do that.
No, we wouldn't ever.
That's
do
right.
that. That's why you guys have to approve the
If
order.
you had
to go
6A
through
to
this.
8P, all right, in the avail, and then you go into this and put, you know,
Something else.
6A to 9.
Who would do that?
Well, because of the-
You say you can do that?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
But it's not, but it's
it
not
doesn't change
automatic.
the rate.
This is all meant, if you're needing to narrow it, it's not automatically
Okay,
updating
so
the
the
rate.
question is, can you manually, once it's been approved, they can have it, change it, and then send it straight in white order?
Yes.
But you still have to work.
Correct. Okay, so we'll talk about the scenario. So the last thing for this part, again, basic avail, is this button up here at the top left, export all traffic files, meaning all stations that are here. Okay, just because it's not on the screen, it will still go across. All right, ACs pick it up, they do what they need to do in white order. That,
Okay,
that,
yeah,
that
left
workflow does
line.
not change. Okay? All right, so that's the overall workflow. Building the avail, send it for a rate approval, comes back to you, make changes, you can go back and forth as many times as you need. Once you're done, you're scheduling, you're sending it over to wide orbit, exporting all traffic files.
Mike,
So
are you
Paul's
gonna email after that or just that?
You do not.
Or do
You do not.
whatever you want to do that. Oh.
But this is just the way we want to track it. This is not quote traffic instructions. This is just like literally traffic as scheduled. Right.
This is an order.
Right, exactly.
Not a problem.
Okay. All right. Real quick, if you are sending over tests and you're done with them, up here at the top left-hand corner, there's a trash can, it says delete record. Up here at the top left-hand corner, and then you choose whichever one, or ones, that you need to delete.
Okay. What is the?
Trash can.
Top left-hand corner, delete record, and you can also filter if you need to, okay? Even by date or ending on, and then you delete, they are gone.
Select them and then you put the trash.
Trash can, select.
Oh, trash can then.
All right? So that's the workflow.
Okay.
Now we're gonna do a deeper dive. Before we do that, we need a fiber.
A fiber?
A fiber.
I'm doing it.
For that, okay? Because we still have another hour and 10 minutes
I
to
think
go.
it's a comfort rate.
So, exactly. So, quick 5 minutes?
I don't think a comfort rate.
You got it.
Anything with comfort.
We have 5 minutes.
No.